Hey guys, it's been a while since we've done another mini documentary. That's usually due to the fact that when I do these, they're a much longer process. The mini documentaries require research, then having to actually type up the script with the research, and then record it, and then I got to edit together. So, sorry that this next one took a while, but these ones take the longest. I did a little vote on my Minds page and my Twitter a while ago, and my YouTube community tabs on what to cover next. And I did get a few votes on my Minds page saying that they would rather me cover for my next mini documentary the story and history of Taito games. So here it is. We are going to jump in to the full history and story of Taito, a game company that I've admired over the years, learning about and seeing old games from, and I want to cover. So let's jump into it. In 1944, a Jewish-Ukrainian businessman named Michael Coogan founded Taito in Shanghai. A refugee of the Soviet Union, Coogan previously worked in a factory in Japan during the country's involvement in World War II. Before moving to Shanghai to join his father, Taito dealt in floor coverings, natural hair wigs, and, not kidding about this one, hog bristles. Until finally, in 1950, the communist takeover of China prompted Coogan to liquidate the business and move operations to Japan, which, after the war, was suffering a significant economical decline. The second business, a clothing distributor named Taito Yoko, struggled financially as a result of employee carelessness and constant loss of products. In 1953, Taito Yoko was shut down and replaced with the Taito Trading Company, where Coogan was joined by a lawyer and retired newspaperman, Akio Nakatani. Taito Trading Company began as a vodka distillery, the first ever to produce vodka in Japan, as well as an importer of peanut vending machines and perfume machines. But sadly, due to increasing competition, Taito abandoned the vodka business in 1955 and decided to focus solely on its successful vending machine businesses, which led to Taito manufacturing arcade games such as pinball machines and vice versa in the 1960s, which were so popular that finally in 1972, Taito changed its name from Taito Trading Company to Taito Corporation, then later opened an American branch, Taito America, the following year in 1973. Things were starting off pretty nice, and with all these changes, it led to their new image. Tomohiro Nikishiado, a Tokyo Deki University engineering graduate who joined Taito in 1968, was crucial in the company's transition to video games. After developing the hit arcade game Skyfighter and its sequel, Skyfighter 2, Taito later assigned Tomohiro to study some new arcade tech being shown around and work with it for his next title. Tomohiro spent 6 months dissecting Atari's Pong arcade unit and learning how it worked, which led to him using its chips and software to create some sports games, some racing games, and even a Western title. Until, finally, in 1978, Tomohiro created Space Invaders, which became the company's biggest hits and one of the most popular video game classics of all time in arcade history. It was even claimed to be the sole responsible kickoff for the golden age of arcade gaming, along with Pac-Man and such. Sadly, a few years later, in 1984, Michael Coogan, the founder, died. His son, Abraham Abba Coogan, became Taito's chairman, and Akio, that lawyer we mentioned before, became its new president. This led to a few slow years of merging with a few other companies and restructuring until finally in 1986 they came back with their next big hit, Bubble Bobble, which spawned a whole new series. Right next to their last big hit, Space Invaders, this game ended up creating such a splash that cartoon animation team Hanna-Barbera, yeah, no joke, that Hanna-Barbera, signed Taito in 1991 to make a few video games for them off their famous cartoon series, The Flintstones and The Jetsons. Now let me tell you something. I fucking love these games. What actually made me consider doing a whole documentary on the story of Taito was these video games. I watched a few live streams of people playing them, and then they looked so fun, I chose to, find them and play them myself, and these are really good games. No joke, I would love if they did a remastered collection of all the old Hanna-Barbera games in a collection pack, or at least a Flintstones remastered collection of these old games from their NES to the Super Nintendo, because I think these games are amazing. And yes, so there's your answer there. These games were so fun, that's what even led to me doing research to begin with, because when I saw that it was Taito that made these games, it made me research more on them and how much these guys are a classic of gaming. Anyways, let's move on. Taito was on such a high from these last few years of success again, that later on they chose, let's say, to get experimental. But sadly, this big experimental phase they wanted to do didn't pan out in the long run for them. In 1992, Taito announced a CD-ROM video game console named the Wow Wow that would have allowed people to play close, almost exact ports of their old Taito arcade hits and games, as well as download games from a satellite transmission. It was named after the Japanese television station Wow Wow, and would have utilized its stations and its programming to download games for you. But sadly, the idea never really went anywhere. But sadly, due to so much time and money being wasted on this interesting new endeavor and product, it caused their American branch, Taito America, to shut down in 1996, after 20 long years of business. It also didn't help that Taito decided to sell exclusive rights for publishing their games in America to Acclaim, yeah, that Acclaim, the previous year in 1991. Taito also had their London branch, Taito Europe, liquidated later that same time in 1998, which caused Taito, sadly, to be so low in money, and after a failed merger with a different company that tried to be big in cell phones, this all caused Taito to be bought up by Square Enix in 2005, where Square Enix decided to just fold all of Taito into just a subsidiary of Square Enix. When looking into present day and doing all the research, Taito, all they have done recently is just releasing new Space Invaders and Bubble Bobble spin-off games. Hell, their last game was just another re-release of Bubble Bobble on the Nintendo Switch in 2023. When I was done doing research on this company, it was a bit sad to see the way it came out. To simply just be bought out and turned into just back fodder for Square Enix to just publish once in a while and use their name when it's convenient. I like Taito games. Ever since I was a kid, was a huge fan of Space Invaders. Hell, I had Space Invaders on my phone, and I would play it a lot in class during high school. I also love these Flintstones games, as I mentioned before. It's sad to see what happened to Taito, but in a way, that's usually how businesses go. No matter who you are or what happens, every legacy dies over time. Yeah, you could be a big hit like Pac-Man and the like, but sadly over time, you just fade away for the next big thing to take over, and whatever's left of you will be no more than just a nostalgia piece to make money off over time. And I know we could have seen a lot more from them if they were in this new generation of gaming we're in today. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this documentary. I hope you found it just as interesting as I did. I have two other mini documentaries I made in the past, one on the PlayStation game IQ, and one on Brash Entertainment, which was my first one. Check those guys out. Check those out if you have the time. And my next mini documentary, hopefully, will be on the story of Disney's failed animation team, Circle 7 Animation. I hope you're excited for that. So glad you guys checked out the video. Like, subscribe, comment below other things you want me to do research in or cover, or any other ideas for episodes of Jetpack Retro, where I take a look at commercials. Next will be an episode of Jetpack Retro, and I'll see you then, guys. Bye, guys.